Devout Christians are encouraged to make 3 pilgrimages during their lifetime, one to Jerusalem, one to St. Peter's in Rome, and one to Santiago de Compostela in northwestern Spain. For it is here that the remains of the Apostle St. James the Greater are interred under the cathedral's high altar. St. James, or in Spanish Santiago, is the patron saint of Spain, and was the apostle who brought Christianity to the Iberian Peninsula, and was later beheaded in Jerusalem in AD 44. Legend has it that his remains were brought back to Spain, but his tomb was not discovered until AD 814, when it was found in a field of stars, hence the name Compostela. King Alfonso II recognized this miracle and had a chapel built over the tomb, and a community established around it, which we now know as Santiago de Compostela. The chapel eventually became the cathedral, and the king himself became the first pilgrim to this site. Over the centuries, thousands of pilgrims have made the journey to Santiago, and by tradition they walk or cycle along the Camino de Santiago, or the Way of St. James. This footpath is 700 kilometers long and runs across northern Spain from the French border to Santiago itself. At the 250-kilometer mark from France is Santo Domingo, where this sculpture illustrates the basic requirements of the pilgrims, i.e. either a bicycle or walking boots, a rucksack, a water bottle, a hat, a walking stick, and most important of all, the symbolic scallop shell of St. James. Paradors are a national chain of luxury hotels based on old monasteries, castles, palaces, etc. This one in Santo Domingo was built in the 12th century by St. Dominic as a hospital and hostel for the pilgrims walking to Santiago. Nowadays, this historic building, located on one of the most important tourist and cultural routes of the world, stands out for quality and comfort. Outside the town is one of the many information offices which assist the pilgrims on their route. This path is typical of the Camino through a village, and the scallop shell is set into the concrete to show it is the correct route. As the pilgrims pass along the Camino, they are encouraged to make small detours to visit churches and monasteries along the way. A must in this category is a visit to Covadonga, some 500 kilometers from the start. An impressive church sited on the edge of the mountainside with a nearby museum which holds the glittering diamond crown of the Santina of Covadonga. The Santina, or Virgin, is situated in a nearby shrine set in a grotto high up on the mountainside, but with walking access through a tunnel. This is one of the holiest places in Spain, and is their equivalent of Lourdes in France. Here the ill and infirm are brought to the church and the shrine of Our Lady of Covadonga in the hope of a miracle cure. A little further along the route is the town of Cangas, with its impressive Roman bridge and its church. At the village of Villanueva, the church and monastery of St. Pedro, or St. Peter's, was another resting place for pilgrims in years gone by, but now it too has been converted into a luxury parador, but while still retaining all the architectural features of the original building. All the pilgrims are issued with a St. James's passbook, which they get stamped at offices along the Camino, to prove that they have either walked at least 100 kilometers or cycled at least 200 kilometers in getting to Santiago. Here they receive an authenticated certificate, or as it is called, a Compostela, to confirm their pilgrimage. On their journey along the Camino, the pilgrims pass through a bewildering array of countryside, from flat plains to mountainous foothills like the Picos area, and pass through a large variety of vineyards, the best known of these probably being the Rioja area. Many attractive villages and towns are also on the route, and it is here that the pilgrims find hostels or small boarding houses where overnight accommodation and food is readily available. Eventually, after journeying for up to 700 kilometers, the pilgrims reach their destination at the plaza at Santiago de Compostela. On one side of the plaza is another old building which was built in 1499 as a hostel and hospital for the pilgrims of years gone by. It is now yet another 5-star parador, which claims to be the oldest hotel in the world. These visitors arriving for morning coffee and biscuits are more likely to have arrived by coach or off cruise liners than be the true walking or cycling pilgrims. Another side of the plaza is the town hall. The pilgrims enter the Grand Plaza in front of the cathedral and often meet up with friends and fellow pilgrims met on the journey along the way. July the 25th is St. James's Day in Spain, and when this date falls on a Sunday, as it did in 2010, then a holy year is proclaimed, and more pilgrims tend to come during that year. On St. James's Day itself, some 250,000 people usually descend on the cathedral. The early churches on this site were destroyed by fire in 997, and in 1075 the construction of the present cathedral was commenced, and it was consecrated in 1128. Further work took place in the 16th and 18th centuries to give us the building we see today. The privilege of holding the Holy Year dates from the 12th century edict by the Pope that elevated Santiago de Compostela to the same saint status as Rome and Jerusalem. A long queue of visitors wait patiently to enter the cathedral by a side door. Most of today's pilgrims are already inside the cathedral, attending a special pilgrim's mass, which is held every day at noon. The Way of St. James ends its 700-kilometre route here at the northern facade of the cathedral, at the so-called Gate of Paradise. Over 100,000 pilgrims visit this World Heritage Site every year, and they come from all over Europe and all parts of the world. After the Mass, a visit to the crypt to see the casket containing the relics of St. James is a must, and also to kiss the golden scallop shell set in the wall as a further sign of homage. Any last-minute mementos can be purchased on the streets, and finally they go and collect their Compostela or certificate to confirm that they have indeed completed their pilgrimage along the way of St. James.